Would you ever date somebody who lived with their parents
I
at
know.
this point in your life?
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to another episode of Almost Rich, Almost Famous, Almost Daily.
We both had too much coffee this morning already. We're like so giggly and weird.
No, I actually think it's important for people to know behind the scenes what goes on. This is a total side note, but Bridget and I just sat here for 5 minutes and I was like, I'm the ugliest person I've ever seen. And Bridget's like, I look like a dude with makeup on. She's like, I don't know. We're the ugliest. We literally just talked for 5 minutes about how we're so ugly and we can't believe we're allowing ourselves to be on camera, but cheers, here we are.
And then Betsy goes, 3, 2, it took like 10 seconds to like press record because she couldn't bear to be on camera looking like this. So hey guys, again, we get our natural selves over here.
Oh.
In brighter news though, so earlier this week I went and stayed with my parents. They only live like 15 minutes away, but it's a long drive. So I go there, they're just like the best. Have the best time. They've got food on deck all the time.
Always.
Fridge of any kind of drinks I ever want. Yep. And I thought to myself, if it was like socially more acceptable and they lived closer, I think I'll live with my parents forever.
So I think a lot of people actually still do live with their parents. One of those people just moved out. So this is a big story that made the news recently. Pete Davidson, who's obviously on Saturday Night Live, dated Ariana Grande, is just like cool guy in the mix. He's 27. He just got his own place. He had lived with his mom his whole life up till now.
No, I don't know what's like more shocking about that. I'm just thinking he's obviously successful and makes good money. Yeah. So he could have afforded a place a long time ago. Like, why now? I wonder if he's like me and just really enjoys all the great like food and.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there are so many perks about living with your parents. Like they can do your laundry. They'll cook dinner for you. They'll make sure the fridge has everything in it. Like there are a billion perks about it, but like, I can't imagine and this is a good question for you as a single lady. Would you ever date somebody who lived with their parents at this point in your life?
Right. See, this is where I'm like speaking out of both sides of my mouth because here I am saying, well, hey, if I worked in green, I'm living with my parents forever. However, if I met a guy and I found out that he lives with his parents, I would look at it as a red flag. Like, why? Do you not have a job? Can you not afford it? Are you like a weird mama's boy that it's going to be an issue that I'm going to have to deal with? Yep. It would turn me off for sure. What about you? You can't really answer it, but.
I would not date somebody who still lived with their parents. It doesn't make sense for me. Like, I love my parents so much, but unlike you, I do not want to live with my parents at this point. Like, and granted, I'm a little older than you, but like, I also just like can't even bear the thought of living with my parents. I love them when I see them, but I don't want to live with them. And like, I don't know. This is not nice, but like you, I'm like, I don't know, like, can you just not afford your own place? Or like, do you just love your parents that much? And then that's going to be an issue for me later in life. Like, I'm not into it.
Yeah. It is a big red flag. I feel like it gets to a certain age. I feel like once you're past 25, that's when, okay, like maybe a couple years after, if you're still trying to figure it out, you're still early in your career, you don't know what city you want to live. Do I want to buy a house? Do I want to get an apartment? You have that like buffer between like 25 and 27. But then by then, I feel like it's time.
I agree. I think the age is 26. I don't know why I think 26, but like 26 is the age, like you got to be out. If you're not out by 26, you're never getting out.
That's a good age because that's the year that you're also cut off of your parents' insurance.
Totally.
So it's like really the year like you just got to cut your parents off. They're no longer paying for your insurance.
Band-aid. Just rip it off. You're done.
You got to get your own benefits. Yep. You got to live on your own. It's time to become an adult. However, now that I think about it, I mean, I was 27 when I moved out.
When you moved out.
Yeah.
So maybe you're a big red flag for people. Maybe that's why you're currently single. People are like, well, you know, she lived with her parents till she was 27.
Forever. And it was really the only reason I moved out. You were a big influence. Like, okay, can you like get your own place? Like, what are you doing? You're commuting this far.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, I enjoy living with my parents. My mom's a really good cook. And you're like, okay, well, it's time to grow up. And so I finally had to. But now I love it. And it's even better because now when I go home, it's a treat, like for myself and my parents. When I live there, I'm just like part of them. I'm like part of the little family. Now I go back. It's if I give them a heads up for sure, I'm like, hey, I'm coming home tonight. My mom will get all my favorite snacks, make my favorite meal. It's almost like a celebrity's coming home. Like, what can I get you?
That is so sweet.
And then when I leave, it's like, oh, here, do you want some leftovers? Here, I have some K-cups. Do you need those for your Keurig? Here, I have a case of White Claw. Do you need it? We don't drink that stuff. Like, it's the best. I like leave with like a whole basket full of like food, drinks, everything.
You know, I've heard a lot about people recently past the age of 26, 27 who are in relationships, have kids, but they're building a house or they're moving to a new place and they just need somewhere to stay for a couple months and their whole family moves in with their parents and it's a whole thing. So I feel like people do it at all different times of life. I know if I needed to do it, my parents would take me back in a heartbeat. So you never know.
It's just shocking when you hear about celebrities that have that much money. It's like, oh, so you are normal. Like you, like your parents, like us, and you're thinking, well, why would I move out? I'm 27. My mom's doing my laundry and cooking me dinners. Why would I move out?
And if there's anyone who's going to do it, Pete Davidson is like the one I would think of. Like, yeah, of course he just moved out with his mom. Like I can imagine him living with his mom his whole life. But then you also have to wonder, like, did Ariana used to come over?
I know.
And like have to hang out with mom? Like what happened?
That is like the other interesting part to think about dating. Like, you know how back in the day, pre-social media and dating apps and all that, like if you wanted to ask someone out, you either had to do it in person, you had to pick up the phone and call them. And then if you went to go pick them up, you typically like met the parents on the first night because if they lived at their parents' house.
Yeah.
So like now, like, well, that's what I'm thinking in my head. Okay, what if I meet a guy out, I really like him, and then he's like, well, hey, do you want to come over? And then I get there and the parents are there. I'd be like, what? I'm not ready for this. I got to get out of here.
So no, you couldn't date some, like, I think it's just a roundabout way of saying like, you couldn't date somebody because you don't want to meet their parents 2 seconds into the relationship. And then if you just take it further, think about everything else, then do you have to go into the basement, like make out or like what goes on? I don't know. It's gross. It's weird. I certainly am not going to do it, but we want to hear from you guys. Would you date somebody who lives with their parents currently at the age you are? And what is the age that is the cutoff? Like you need to be out of your parents' house. Let us know.
We're past that age.
We're definitely past that age, but who knows? Your parents should be expecting you because I think you just like it way too much.
Sure. Cheers.
Cheers.